And now we'll turn to David Miller, a resident of Fairfax County, Virginia, serves on the board of directors at Northern Virginia Community College, where he co-founded the Community College Consortium on Autism and Intellectual Disabilities. He received his BA degree at Boston University, a master's in public administration at Northeastern, and his law degree at George Mason University. He's retired from the Armed Forces. He's the father of two 7-year-old autistic boys who are identical twins.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Miller, welcome to the committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Chairman Harkin and Senator Cochran, again, thank you very much for holding this hearing. As the chairman indicated, I am a board member of Northern Virginia Community College, where I represent Fairfax County. We're the second largest community college in the nation. As you indicated again, Mr. Chairman, I'm the co-founder of the Community College Consortium on Autism and Intellectual Disabilities, which is comprised of 41 community college presidents from those states that have the highest incidence of autism in the country. I'm pleased to say, Mr. Chairman, that Mr. Nick Starcevich from Kirkwood Community College, based in Iowa, is a very active member of our consortium, as is Dr. Clyde Muse, president of Hines Community College, which I understand, he tells me repeatedly, is the largest community college in Mississippi. Both of these respected leaders could not be here today because of previously scheduled board meetings. But we do have some community college presidents here that I would like to introduce the subcommittee to. The first one is Willie Duncan, who I believe is behind me. President Duncan is the chairman of Taft College and is the chairman of our consortium on autism and intellectual disabilities. The second president we have accompanying me today is Dr. Wayne Burton. Wayne, who's the president of North Shore Community College, based up in Massachusetts. We have Steve Rose, who I think is here today, who's the chairman of Passaic County Community College. Also with me today is Mr. Jeff Ross, the director of Taft College's Transition to Independent Living program, which in my opinion is one of the foremost post-secondary programs in the country for students with autism and intellectual disability. In fact, if you look at my testimony on page 2 or 3, I really, the summary of the measurable results that Taft has achieved these last 13 years with respect to students with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities is astounding. In fact, we at the community college level aspire to have programs as effective as the Taft program. This hearing today has particular poignancy to me because, as you indicated, Mr. Chairman, I'm the father of two 7-year-old autistic boys who are identical twins, Joseph Harris Miller and William Lewis Miller. Their sister, Sally Catherine Miller, is the youngest of these triplets. She's here today, and thankfully, she's a healthy, happy 7-year-old princess. Sally, I know you're back there somewhere.
Got her back there.
My comments are purely those of a parent who is concerned about the long-term ability of my children and children in similar circumstances to live independently and to develop a career track that will enable them to support themselves financially while at the same time meeting and overcoming challenges that, frankly, I have never faced and probably you have never faced in our entire lives. I am not an educator like President Duncan or President Rose or President Burton. I'm not a therapist in the field, as is Jeff Ross, nor am I as well versed in the nuances of autism and as well read as my wife is, who really on a daily basis meets the challenges not only during the day but in the evening, as was pointed out before, in terms of the nocturnal tendencies of autistic children. She's a wonderful woman and a very accomplished woman. She, frankly, should be seated in this witness chair. So Ellen, when you do the next hearing, she needs to be invited. I'd like to, people talk about takeaways, and I'll go through the testimony in a second. I think that when this hearing, when you go on to further activities, the two takeaways I'd like you to have from my testimony are these. Number one, my kids are here. They're here to stay. I think what you're doing with respect to research is excellent. We need to have funds invested in screening and diagnosis and all that good stuff. I think it's tremendous. We need to do that. But having said that, my kids are here. And all the panelists that have autistic kids are here. So what are we going to do with these kids? And I think the second thing that I find more and more as I talk to more and more autism advocates and more proponents is, what's the game plan here? What's the end result? What are we looking towards? What are we working for? It's true that most of these kids are below the age of 17 at this stage, but more and more of these kids right now are entering middle school, they're entering high school. At some point, they're going to be adults. What are we going to do with these kids? And I think that's a critical question that we all have to consider, and I think we need to keep that objective in mind. We at the community college level are seeing our first beginnings of autistic kids on our campus. Your chairman, by the way, Chairman Kennedy, obviously gets it. We've had a number of discussions, our community college consortium and he's called this a tsunami. He said to us that we've not invested in the infrastructure to deal with this coming tsunami, as he described it. Section 767 Higher Ed Bill, based on his authorship and that of Senator Enzi, authorized the Secretary of Education to award 5-year grants in support of model demonstration programs that, quote, promote the successful transition of students with intellectual disabilities into higher education. There's no specific amount authorized, and I have a letter, I'm sure you've seen it, Chairman Harkin, I know you've seen it, Senator Cochran, from Senator Kennedy, where he requests $35 million for FY 2010 to fund these types of programs. The reason for this funding request is that, as stated in the chairman's correspondence, the vast majority of autistic and intellectually disabled students are currently at community colleges and will attend community colleges because we have what are called open admissions policies. They graduate from secondary school or they reach age 21 and they come on our campuses. They are here, and frankly, we have no programs, effective programs, with the exception of Taft, to deal with these children. What they do is they come on our campuses, they enroll in normal academic courses, they're soon put on academic probation, and they're soon academically dismissed, and that's it. They have no further contacts with respect to job training programs, I'll bet perhaps sheltered workshops. They have no further or additional educational opportunities. That is it. So what happens to these kids after that? And again, that's what Senator Kennedy is really focused on. Schools like Kirkwood will tell you, and schools like Hines Community College will tell you, these are expensive programs. They run roughly $30,000 a school. And President Starcevich tells me, as does President Muse, that they're limited by law to approximately $2,000 to $3,000 as far as tuition. They don't have access to any further funding. That's it. And with the reduction in state operating funds right now, they just do not have the financial resources to develop programs to assist these students. I think one thing, and I realize I'm way over my time, I think one thing that you have to look at these funds, they're essentially they're essentially economic development funds, or they're essentially local stimulus funds. These funds will be focused by community colleges in life skills training and in vocational training. So again, Mr. Chairman and Senator Cochran, we appreciate the fact that you've seen fit to put approximately $15 million towards this program, and we hope that in conference, that at the end of this conference, you will walk away at least with that minimum amount of money. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller.